Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society, I called this story The Tale of a Really Good First Episode. Hey everyone, Ryan Reed here, and if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know that I am a huge fan of the 1990s Nickelodeon series Are You Afraid of the Dark? It's one of the first shows that I ever watched that introduced me to the horror genre, and something that I hold really near and dear to my heart. I really love the series and the franchise, and so when they rebooted it in 2019 with this new kind of mini-series that has now become, I guess, kind of an episodic anthology, series, each season being something different, that version of it, 2019's Carnival of Doom, I believe is what it was called, I was not a huge fan of. I thought that there were elements that I really enjoyed, but overall, just the overall package of it I thought was pretty weak. I didn't really care for a lot of the characters. I didn't really care for a lot of the scares and how a lot of the plot points seemed to kind of go nowhere, and ultimately things that you thought were scares were just wasted time. So overall, I was kind of meh on Carnival of Doom. But that being said, this new season has just come out. It started airing last Friday, if you're watching this video today when it comes out. This series is called The Curse of the Shadows. And so far, I will say, just based on one episode, they seem to have fixed a lot of the issues that I had with the 2019 series. Now, to be fair, if you haven't watched this episode yet, definitely go check that out first and then come back to this video, because I'm going to go into some minor spoilers, nothing major, but if you want to go in with completely fresh eyes, definitely go watch that episode first and come back to this review. So yeah, Curse of the Shadows is kind of interesting. I really dig where they're going with this, in that it is a brand new Midnight Society. Again, it seems that that's the way they're going to be doing the show from now on. Each season will be focused on a new Midnight Society dealing with a new sort of horror within their lives. And I kind of dig that. It's very different from the original series, of course, which was an episodic anthology series. Every week was a new story told by the Midnight Society. Here, it seems like each season's going to be focused on a Midnight Society involved with something supernatural, but I don't mind that so much. As long as the stories are good, I think the idea of bringing in a new Midnight Society every time, telling new tales, and also being wrapped up in some new tale, not a bad idea, not a bad way to kind of modernize it, bring it into today's day and age. So I kind of dig that. And so far, I really dig this Midnight Society a lot more than last season's. Last season's just felt like it was full of so many archetypes and just like, okay, that's the, the kid who's new to town and she's, artsy but moody and quiet to herself. It's just full of everything you would have seen a billion times over. So far, we don't get a lot of that. We do get some kind of basic character types. Like there is one character who's very much kind of an activist. She's handing out flyers and trying to get the school to go green, things like that. And at first I was like, oh, okay, we're gonna be dealing with this character, but that doesn't really play into her whole character a lot. It's an element of her character, but they're doing a better job, at least in this first episode, of kind of rounding out the characters a little bit more and making them more realistic. I mean, as far as realistic can go for, a kids' horror anthology series. But that all being said, they're doing a better job, and I'm kind of digging these characters a lot more. They're not annoying me as much. There are some moments that feel like they're kind of holdovers from the last season. There's a moment where one of the friends goes to talk to one of the other Midnight Society members, and she's at her job, and people keep asking her for things because that's her job. She works at a restaurant, and so she's a waitress, and so people keep asking her oh, can you give me tartar sauce? Are those my fries? Things like that. And she acts as if it's the biggest problem, as if we as the audience should side with her. And I'm like, no, you get those people what they ask. No one's being rude about it. Why is this here? There's another moment where one of these kids says oh, I have to eat every 2 hours, or my blood sugar gets low or something like that. But that feels like a moment that we saw, either I saw it in something else or it feels like something from Carnival of Doom for sure. But those are few and far between. I think this series does a much better job at creating a Midnight Society we kind of want to be invested in. It also does a much better job of making it really creepy and truly creepy. Like I said, it seems like they kind of listened to the notes of, people who viewed last season, because a lot of last season's scares ended up being fake out scares. So it'd be oh, it's a zombie attack, but then they're animatronics or things like that. Here we're dealing with the Shadow Man, who basically when you enter his woods, if you don't leave before sundown, you're cursed, essentially. And the more he scares you, the more powerful he becomes. Kind of like Freddy Krueger in that way, I guess. Essentially, he curses people who enter his woods and he terrifies them. And honestly, there are some really creepy moments. There's a moment where they go and visit Sardo, who I'll get to in a moment, which is really cool that they brought Sardo back. But he's telling the story of the Shadow Man and filling in all these Midnight Society people. And they are seeing the story kind of play out. You know, we're watching a story within a story type of thing of this girl on like a carousel, like one of the ones you see at like a park where it's like got the poles so you like would spin it. There's like a shadow hand that comes up from underneath it. And there's like a lot of really well done, creepy stuff within it. I mean, as creepy as they're going to go on Nickelodeon, of course, you know, they're not going to push it too far, but it is legitimately creepy at times. And the supernatural element works way better than a lot of the stuff that did in Carnival of Doom. And on top of that, it seems like whoever is working on this season, whether it's the same people or not, they feel more like true fans. There's a lot of Ghastly Grinner callbacks. They reference Crimson Clown, you know, there's a bunch of like different moments where they're kind of referencing the show. The biggest one being that they bring Sardo back. But here's the interesting thing. Sardo is played by a new actor. However, that being said, what I have heard, and based on a line that he has in the episode, it seems like he is Sardo's son. And I really like that. I like the fact that they didn't just recast Sardo. It's not Sardo, you know. And it's subtle enough to where if you've never seen the original series, you're not going to be like, who is this character? It makes total sense. If you have seen the original series and you pick up on a few lines he says about like his grandfather being Mr. Sardo, he is Sardo accent on the dough. He's got the same line that the original Sardo had. I believe his name was Richard Dumont. So this new guy seems to really understand Sardo as a character, and he gets it. If he is the son of Sardo, which it seems like they're kind of implying, he picks up a lot of the mannerisms, but also kind of makes him his own character, and it's really well done. I really have to respect the actor. I have to respect all the actors because nobody really feels like they're hamming it up, or if they are hamming it up, in the case of like Sardo, it feels true to that character. Again, we're only one episode in, so there's not like a whole lot to say other than the fact that it's really good. You know, last season I felt like I could talk forever about it because I could pick things apart. Here it's a lot harder to do that. There's a few little odd moments, of course, but the scares are really good. The references are really good. The characters are more interesting, I think, by being more subtle, which is weird. Normally you want your characters to feel a bit more distinct, of course, but I feel like here in the first season, Carnival of Doom, they went way too far and just made them broad. Now they've pulled back on that a little bit, and we kind of understand what each character is about, but I also feel like we're going to kind of get more glimpses into them as the season goes on. But overall, really dig this episode of Curse of the Shadows, the new season. I'm really looking forward to the next few episodes. Definitely check it out if you haven't already. If you felt like the last season was kind of disappointing, give this one a shot. I think they've fixed a lot of the problems, and I think they listened to what the fans want, and I really appreciate that on Nickelodeon's part or whoever's in charge of this whole project. That being said, if you haven't seen Carnival of Doom last season, or even if you have seen it and you want to see my opinion on it, check out the reviews I did for Carnival of Doom. There were 3 episode reviews, 3 impromptu reviews that I did. I'll leave a link to that playlist down below. Check that out, enjoy that while we're waiting for new episodes of Curse of the Shadows. Plus, if you like creepy Nickelodeon stuff, check out some of my Fright Films episodes I've got where I deal with that. I talk about Hey Arnold and Zeke the Plumber and all kinds of stuff like that. Artwork videos for creepy drawings of cartoon characters, all kinds of stuff on the channel. Check those out. If you like this video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.